Okay, here we go with a Facebook Live. Facebook Live number 4. And I'm going to be talking about a couple of things tonight. One is Football Star Manager 4, the rollout. And I'll also be talking about a bit about Football New Manager and a couple of other subjects. So for anybody who may not know who I am, my name is Kevin Toms. I wrote the original Football Manager game many years ago in the beginning of the 1980s. And I wrote Football Manager 1, Football Manager 2, Football Manager World Cup Edition. I've written other things, but President, Software Star, and more recently Football Star Manager, which has been a renewal of my original game. And Football Star Manager is the first point I want to talk about tonight, to give an update. It's kind of nice and a good discipline for me to do these weekly updates on Facebook. It allows me to think about what's an update, what's worth telling people, and it's obviously an opportunity to interact as well. So Football Star Manager 4, it's been a long time getting to this update, but it is now rolling out. So Football Star Manager 4 is rolling out to Android. So it's on Android, on the Android Play Store, and version 4.02, and it has a bunch of new features. So one of the new features is it keeps record of the scorers season by season, your top scorers season by season. Another new feature is it keeps a record of your league and cup performances season by season. And another thing is you'll find that the player's skill is enhanced. I've actually got a couple more updates to do, but they won't be until the next version, which shouldn't be too long. One of the things that's good at the moment is, as I am full-time dedicated to this for the time being, I'm able to get a lot more done, and I haven't been able to do that for a while. The final part of Football Star Manager 4 is that I've made all the in-app purchases free. So the customization parts, which allow you to customize all the team names in all the different leagues, customize the player names in your squad, and also to put a shield or some kind of graphic to represent your team in the bottom left of the screen. They're all now included in Football Star Manager 4. And what I was able to do was to roll that feature out to the other platforms as well by making the in-app purchases free on iOS and Kindle Fire. These functions were always free in the Apple Mac and the Windows version anyway. So basically everybody gets it for free now. So that's the rollout of Football Manager 4, and I'll be deploying the new versions across the other platforms over the coming weeks. The next one will be the Kindle Fire. So welcome everyone that's listening. I noticed that a lot more people actually end up watching this after the live, but it's great to have you present when it's live, and also it's a good opportunity to do a Q&A at the end. Now, the next thing to give you a bit of an update on is Football New Manager, the next game, which is also under development, or also I'm working hard on, and a lot of activity on that. As I kind of published a few days back, I'm working on the match animation for that game, and I will probably be able to in fact, what I plan to do is to demonstrate the animation as I build it, which is kind of a little bit nuts, because it's always broken at first and not much to show. So, but I think it could be fun to do that. And the nature of the way I'm writing Football New Manager is to be quite open and interactive in the development. In fact, I'm in the middle of a series of posts that you may have seen, post 1, post 2, post 3. Just posted number 2 tonight over 3 days. And they're highlighting the fact that when I first wrote Football Manager, all I had in way of communication was letters by post with people. So handwritten letters by post, that was all you had, or typed letters by post. And it was a great way to get feedback. And I used to include some of the things people said in the advertising. Some things people said in the letters, and I can still remember the first letters dropping through the letterbox to order the game. So that's part 1. So that's when I wrote Football Manager 1. Tonight I did another post where I highlighted the fact that in 2015 I put out a post online to my few hundred followers at the time that I was considering recreating my original Football Manager, which people were still talking to me about in 2015, all those decades later, on mobiles. And I was already a mobile developer, so I thought, well, I could do this. And so I set about doing that, and that became Football Star Manager, the game that's now available on all the app stores, and a lot of people are getting a lot of entertainment out of. And it really has recaptured the original, which was my intention. And of course, it's the same writer, but I modernized it a bit. I made some changes, and I'm still tweaking those changes now. But I won't do anything to it that will change the characteristics of that game. So it's got to keep its roots of the original game. And by the way, I'll just take a stop at this moment and say welcome to everyone. It's good to have you here, and I will make some time at the end to do a Q&A if anybody has some questions they want to ask. So where was I? So I was saying part 2 of my series of posts is about Football Star Manager and the foundation of that, or the idea for that, starting in 2015, and now it's a game that's sold in thousands to many, many people on 5 platforms on the app stores. And anybody who hasn't got it, who's watching and wants to get it, just look for my name, Kevin Toms, on the app store, and it's fairly easy to find. And now I'm embarking on a next step, which is Football New Manager, I've called it. And that's a brand new development, which is moving at quite a pace, and I'm full-time dedicated to that, and I am intending to stay that way if it is at all possible. And whereas the first time I wrote Football Manager, all I could do was write letters to people, and when I wrote Football Star Manager, I had the advantage that I could talk to people online, which was another step forward. With Football New Manager, I intend to take that another step further, and that is to integrate you guys, the players, into the game as much as possible, which is why I've done the Patreon as a sort of membership part of that, and everybody on Patreon has the opportunity to be included in the game. And if you think you want to be part of it, well, the minimum to be in the game is $1 a month, and I think $1 a month to be a persona in what could be an important game, I don't think it's that bad. But and also it's good to have that interaction and chatting with people directly on Patreon and showing the progress as it goes. But this game will drive on, and it's already, I'm working on the animation, and I will be working on other parts of it. In fact, I've got another screen tomorrow, which will, well, I say tomorrow, I might be publishing it tomorrow, I might be publishing it Saturday. That will show that the Football New Manager, Football Star Manager, is essentially an offline game. And a lot of people have said that they see that as a big plus point, because they can play it anywhere, anytime. They don't have to be connected. And as you know, there's no onerous in-app purchases or anything like that forcing you to keep buying things to keep going. Maybe I should have done that. But it's a very free game in that way, and a lot of people have told me they play in places where they wouldn't be able to be connected, traveling. For example, on airlines, it's used quite a bit on long flights. And I think that capability is something I want to continue, although Football New Manager will actually have an online component. So the Football New Manager game, and that's what I'll show in the next couple of days, I'll show a screen for it in the next couple of days, will be online and also offline. So you will have both capabilities built in. By that I mean you'll be able to play the game for an extended time. So an 8-hour flight to Tokyo, as one person told me, you will be able to play Football New Manager, just as you can Football Star Manager. But also there will be certainly substantial benefits from being connected as well. So both parts will be in the new game. And you'll see over the next couple of months a continuous update from me on progress in that game. So you'll get a feel of how the game's going to be, and you'll get a feel of how I will be incorporating people into the game as well. And that will build step by step as I develop it at quite a rapid pace, as I intend to. Been going pretty quick so far, and I'll continue that way. The other thing is that unlike Football Star Manager, it's not limited for me by being connected to the original game. So it gives me kind of design freedom that I didn't have with Football Star Manager, which very much needs to keep its roots. I think that was the main parts of the update. I did write something down to remind me. Football Star Manager, as I said, is already out on Android. Will be out on Kindle Football Star Manager 4. The new version it's already out on Android. Will be out on Kindle Fire, then iOS, Mac, and Windows. Is that right? That's 5. After that, and all of them already. There are the in-app purchases are now free. You'll need version 4 on Android to get that, but all the other versions I've made the in-app purchases free. So I want you guys to be able to enjoy the customization, and I'll probably highlight what you can do with that. But a lot of people are using it already, and there will be a slight price increase. Slight. It's not much for all the entertainment you guys get out of this, but now that it includes everything free. That's it, I think, on update. Does anybody have any questions they come to mind or they want to know about that? Or are you talking amongst yourselves, which is fine, actually. ZX81. You mentioned ZX81. I got to talk about that. The ZX81, of course, was the very first version of the game, alongside the TRS-80, a TRS-80, Tandy TRS-80 clone. It was actually the Video Genie that I wrote the game on, not the TRS-80. When's the Windows version out? There is a Windows version out of Football Star Manager. You just look on the Windows 10 App Store. Look for my name, Kevin Toms, you can find it. So, the ZX81, that was the first version, all text, and I think, I know, only 8 teams a division, all worked in 16K of RAM, and you needed that extra memory to do that. There's a good question there. What did I do in the intervening years? Actually, I've done a lot of stuff. I've worked for a lot of software companies. Mostly I've developed software. And so I've kept basically tuned in with that. Done a lot of business software. You worked for the European Space Agency, worked for Philips, worked for High Street Bank, insurance companies, City of London banks. And I've traveled as well. I've worked in New Zealand, Australia, Germany, Belgium, Netherlands, Canada. I think that's enough, actually. So yeah, so I haven't been idle. I've been doing plenty of stuff, and in a way that's kept me tuned up. Loading the Amstrad version now, I like that version. Is what properly functioning, Shane? Lots of updates coming. Is it properly functioning? With lots of updates coming. What are you referring to, Shane? I'm not sure what you're asking about there. So anyway. Yeah, I've been busy. Interestingly, you've probably seen me post about this before, but that original launch, the ZX81 and the TRS-80. So I wrote the game first on the Video Genie, and then later, because I'd already worked out that I thought there was a market for it. It was really early. It was just 1981. No, the new Android Football Star Manager 4, that's already out. Yeah, Shane, that's already out. It's on the Play Store. Yeah, so I was saying, so the Video Genie, I wrote the game on the Video Genie, 16K, TRS-80 clone. It was made in Korea, I think, and it was a carbon copy. It was obviously, they were able to pirate hardware at that time because it was just the same, but it was a different company. It was cheaper, and then I converted the game to the ZX81 because the ZX81 had come out while I was writing it, and I bought one, and I realized with the price that this would be a much better launch for the game. And so I launched on both platforms with a quarter-page advert. And if I hadn't done the ZX81, of the first 300 games I sold 297 on the ZX81 and 3 on the TRS-80. And I was so disappointed in the sales of the TRS-80 that I that I actually stopped advertising. I didn't even think it was worth including in the advertising because, I mean, I had to make them as well. So that is the rarest football manager, original football manager you can find. And I think one person wrote to me he thought he had one but couldn't find it. But yeah, that's the sort of eBay special, a real actual copy of the original TRS-80 Football Manager. I don't have master tapes anymore or anything like that of that. But if I had not done that, if I had only written the game on the Video Genie and put that out, the cost of the advert would have been a complete failure, and I would have lost so much money, the sales, compared to what it was costing me for the advertising. After all, I'd also had to buy the computer, which, you know, I didn't have great wages at the time, and I would have probably, I don't know whether I would have given up. I don't give up easy, but I probably would have been pretty close to giving up pretty quick if I couldn't work out a way. So the ZX81 was absolutely critical to Football Manager actually becoming a known product and everything that grew out of that. Kind of interesting, I think, how things start off. And I wrote that all in Milton Keynes. I got the idea while I was still in London, though. But then I moved to Milton Keynes and I wrote it in Milton Keynes. So I think that's probably a full update for this week, unless there's anything else you think of while I'm just pausing now. Okay, guys. Well, I'll do another update next week. One thing you might comment in the messages is if this is a better time. I think it might be a better time to do this at 8 p.m. UK time rather than the 7 p.m. I was doing. But just let me know on that. And I'll be back on next week. And, of course, you can always talk to me online. Okay. Thanks a lot, guys. Nice chatting to you.